Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Gosh Heckin' Stream. Today, coming up, we have stories about awkward Easter dinners, cheating brozos, mother-in-law stealing your seat at the table, teachers stealing from students, walking out on your sick partner, mom stealing tuition, teachers overstepping boundaries, and cake. We have cake story and spicy story today. Hello, it is Dusty Thunder with a story for you. Title of this one is Am I the Astronaut for bringing a much older guy to Easter dinner after my dad left my mom for someone close to my age? I, 18 female, moved out at 15 when I got into a boarding school abroad. When I was 12, my dad, 45 male, cheated on my mom, 43 female, with a woman who was 20 at the time, now 26 female. They ended up divorcing and he's been with her ever since. She's only a few years older than I am, and for the past few years, she's been at every family holiday. She's clearly only after his money, but he's too stupid and stubborn to understand. This year for Easter, I flew back home and asked a friend of mine, 38 male, to come with me and pretend to be my boyfriend just for a few days at home. Well, that's different. It's not like you were dating somebody. It's like you intentionally recruited an older person to prove a point. That's different. We'll see how it plays out, though. After dinner, my dad pulled me aside and told me he felt uncomfortable with the situation. I told him I didn't do anything wrong and that after him, love has no age. He told me that I ruined everyone's Easter by being selfish and bringing someone his age to dinner. I flew back to school, but now I'm getting messages from a few relatives saying that I should apologize to my dad and break up with my boyfriend. I haven't responded. I don't think I'm in the wrong because he has made my entire life uncomfortable since the moment he cheated on my mom. Am I the astronaut? There's an edit, but before we get into that, I wish OP would have said, okay, Dad said to OP, you ruined everyone's Easter by being selfish and bringing someone my age to dinner. I would have been like, ditto, but backdate that. How is your behavior okay, but mine is not? Now, remember, OP is 18. Dude was dragging him going after someone at 20 is way worse. And he was, 40-something at the time? I know she was proving a point. Does that make it shitty? No, not yet. I'm trying to process this thing through. Like, I know she's proven a point and was doing it to be petty, and maybe that's where the assholishness potential comes in, right? If this is someone she was actually dating, like NTA, doing this to be petty and prove a point, maybe. You didn't have to do it, that's for sure. But it is funny that it struck a nerve and that's not okay. But the inverse is okay, right?
Maybe that's for sure.
Prove that the inverse is not okay? That it's hypocritical?
Yes.
Okay. I get it. Edit! Seems like many think this is a lie. I would too, but I met my friend at a book club when I moved to the US. I'm from Europe, and he's been a great father figure to me, to be honest. When I had no friends there, he would buy me dinner and actually spend time with me. And he's recently divorced from his high school sweetheart, so he would have spent Easter alone anyway. Therefore, I decided to take him with and show him around. I know this is immature, people. I know it's extremely immature of me. But I wanted to show him how it feels. Thanks a lot for the advice, everybody. I'll update for Christmas, LOL. And I agree. Showing him that he's a hypocrite, NTA. I'm sticking with my NTA. Sticking with it. Yeah, you weren't dating him. You were doing it to be petty, but you're also doing it to prove a point to him that like he was made uncomfortable. Oh, well, and that matters? That's funny. I've been uncomfortable for a long ass time because of your behavior. So cool. Tell you what, Tater Thunder's just going to operate the buttons for me today. She's like, Patty Thunder, Patty Thunder. You want the thunder? That gets some Patty Thunder going on for sure. And I do appreciate it. Yeah, I mean, whenever you're trying to prove a point, especially if somebody has caused you discomfort or pain and you're proving a point, pointing out hypocrisy, I think you have to accept that you're going to be the asshole when you prove that point. But it's a constructive assholishness. It's constructive. You know what I mean? Maybe not the asshole we need, but it's the asshole we deserve. Elise dropping the 5 said, yep, she should have 100% called him daddy in front of her father. Oof. It is funny that she said he's been a father figure to her. I immediately envisioned Artie from Schitt's Creek. Like I envisioned this as Artie and Alexis. And Johnny Rose is like, he's And Artie, who's like Johnny Rose's age, calls him dad. And that's really funny. So, OP, if you're going to do this for Christmas, please bring your friend along again and have him call your dad. And just see what happens. Just see what happens. Artie's such a young soul. Hey there, it's Dusty Thunder once again with another story for you. This one is, am I the astronaut for wanting to divorce my husband after he left our newborn and toddler with our teenage daughter while he went out with another woman? Come again? A couple of days ago, I decided to take a much-needed me day. I told my husband how I felt, and he agreed that I could go out for a bit. I went out with my mom and sister for lunch, a mini shopping spree, and we even got our nails done. It was lovely to have some time to unwind. I left the house around 1 p.m., planning to be back around 6 p.m. My husband was supposed to be at home with the kids since we don't have anybody to babysit on short notice. While I was out, I received notifications from our Ring camera. Around 5:50 p.m., I saw something was happening at the front door. I called my husband, who assured me everything is fine and that he was just picking up a pizza. I thought nothing of it, knowing he was with the kids. Fast forward to around 6 p.m. when I got another notification that he was back home. Due to the long wait at the nail salon and bad traffic, I didn't arrive home until 8 p.m. When I got inside, I immediately noticed something was off. My husband's car was gone. I walked into the house to find my toddler playing with spit, and my newborn was crying uncontrollably. My teenage daughter was in tears because she couldn't calm the baby down. Can you imagine walking into that scene?
I'd come unglued.
Body tension, just like... I quickly took the baby, changed her, fed her, and got her to bed, checking in with my daughter to see what happened. She told me she didn't know where Dad was, but that he had told her to watch the kids because he had something important to do, or someone. I comforted her and reassured her that it was a big task to ask for her to handle alone. I felt awful that she had been put in that situation. My husband finally came home around 10 p.m., looking somewhat drunk. When I asked where he had been, he casually claimed he was with his wife and having a good time.
What?
Who, me? I'm right here. It felt like a slap in the face. He took off his pants and acted as if everything was normal, completely dismissing what had just happened. The next day, when I confronted him about his absence, he lied and said he fell asleep at 7:35 p.m. He just forgot. He forgot that he rolled in at 10, schnockered, and told you he was with his wife, and pantsed himself and then passed out. He forgot all that.
Who the is this guy?
I don't think he knows.
What the
I was furious and called him out for being dishonest, insisting I knew he had been out with another woman. I reached out to my mother-in-law and my own mom for advice, trying to gain some perspective. My mother-in-law minimized it, saying it was a common mistake for men and that I needed to move on for the kids' sake. You know, they need the father at home. All right. I red flagged her. What I really need to do is this for mother-in-law. So I guess now we know where your hubby learned it, because she had to just be okay with it from her hubby, his dad. I've been doing a lot of soul searching since that day. Part of me wants to fight for our marriage. I believe we can work through this rough patch. However, another part of me is devastated and feels that I deserve better. I think about filing for divorce, seeking child support, and pursuing full custody of the kids so I can provide them with a stable environment. So here I am, wondering if I'm being the asshole for even considering divorce. Am I overreacting? Should I be more forgiving because of our history? Or am I justified in wanting to leave this relationship for the happiness and safety of myself and my children? Am I the astronaut? This happened on 4/1/25. So there's an update. Oh! OP ended this by saying this happened on 4/1/25. What if it really wasn't it? No, you know what? Even if that's an elaborate April Fool's, the fact that you came home to your children in actual pain, in actual agony, your teenager was put through hell with a task that was way too big for her, completely uncomfortable, and whatever he chose to do, or whomever he chose to do, he chose to allow his children to suffer in order for him to get his jollies doing whatever it was. Does it really matter if it was another woman? What it was? Does it matter? Whatever it was worth him allowing his children to suffer to get it. Not to me. Not to me. Yeah, and if that's an April Fool's that you allow your children to suffer to make a joke about, it's not a funny joke. Crime's just as bad in my book. Let's dive into the updates. A lot has gone down, and I appreciate all the advice, but for those who think that it was fake, that's just your opinion. My husband and I went back and forth for a couple more days after my last post. I finally got him to watch the video, and it proved he was the one lying while saying I was. He kept watching it and coming up with excuse after excuse. Hold on. He was watching the video where like he leaves or doesn't come back till 10 o'clock. And each time he watches it, he comes up with a new excuse. He's like, well, see, what happened was I had to take the trash out.
There was a raccoon.
There was a raccoon.
Nothing about a raccoon.
Clearly, just lie upon lie upon lie. I told him that if our marriage fell apart, it would be because of his behavior that night. I asked him a few things. 1, why did he leave our daughter with the babies? 2, what was he doing? 3, who was this so-called second wife? All he could say was that I was being too dramatic and that I was not trusting him too much. I shot back, you broke my trust when you left the babies alone with our kid. I told him he had one chance to come clean, and if he didn't, we'd have to talk about divorce, child support, and all that. Still, he stood firm, saying I didn't do anything. I was so frustrated. I asked him why he couldn't just be honest. His answer, why do you think I was cheating? That's not trusting me. I reminded him that he admitted to being with his wife right in front of me. He said, I was drunk. I replied that he shouldn't have gone out and gotten drunk without a way to get home safely while our kids were at home without an adult. He apologized, but that didn't change what he did. I told him his actions messed up our daughter's trust in him, hurt our marriage, and affected our parenting. He just kept pushing his own narrative about that night. On April 17th, he told me I was overreacting and that we should keep it together for the kids. I wonder where he learned that line, mother-in-law. Oh, for the kids. It's a common mistake, really. John's done it hundreds of times. Just get used to it. I reminded him that he lied to me, called me a liar, put our kids in danger, and wrecked our marriage. Then he snapped and got mad, claiming there was a reason for everything, but wouldn't tell me anything.
Tell us the reason.
On April 19th, he came clean and admitted he's been seeing another woman, calling her his second wife. He told me that if I couldn't accept it, then it didn't matter to save a marriage that was already falling apart, with only me trying to hold it together. I shot back that since he was the one ruining our marriage and wrecking our lives with this nonsense, then fine, let it be. I told him he'd be the reason our kids wouldn't have a dad in the house because of his selfish, ignorant, and irresponsible behavior. He lied to our daughter about her phone, put our kids in a tough spot, lied to me, messed up our marriage, and then made me look like the one who's dishonest. So the original question was, am I the ass-off for wanting to divorce my husband after he left our newborn and toddler with our teenage daughter while he went out with another woman? Hell no. Hell no. And you know what, Tater? This is one of those stories that has taters in the recipe. You know what I mean? Let's do it, ladies and gents. Come on now. It is time for Tater Thoughts. I need like a little catchy music thing to pop up with that. It's like
Okay.
Just clip that, Caden, and that will become the music for that animation.
My flappers are gassed. This was the first time that I've heard this
I'll
story.
gas your flappers. Bad. I'll see myself out.
I'm not sure what to say from that. This was my first time hearing the story. Caden found it, and for f***'s sake, dude, that was a wild ride. It was Space Mountain at Disney World of the cheating shit. I don't even know.
Welcome to Disney World of the cheating shit.
I don't even know if my husband disappeared for 4 hours and I didn't know where he was and he came home drunk and wouldn't tell me what happened. That man would not be allowed to sleep in my home. Like, get the out. Like, we're adults.
You'd be giving me the Midwest welcome.
We're adults here, and
You'd get the garden
we're gonna be
hose,
adults.
and you tell me to grab my ankles, and I'll be getting the Midwest welcome.
Yeah, we is that when you talked about hosing someone off?
Yeah, it still sticks around as the Midwest welcome. Yeah, it's like that's how we say hello. We just be glad we ain't spraying you with the garden hose in the butt cheeks. You know what I mean? We don't want your dirty ass sitting on my sofa.
I would be kicking this person out of my home because if you left our kids alone with a teenager, a baby, while your wife was going out for me time, and you left your kids alone without another adult present, and then finally when you come home, you're drunk and you lie about where you've been and said that you were with your second wife. Like, well, And she stuck around for like 3 more weeks. And she's like, he's going to tell the truth. And everyone's like, it's fine. He can have another wife. It's for the kids. He was raised by someone who tolerated a lot of cheating bullshit, obviously. And he thinks that this is just how you live life. It's not. That's not how you do it. This is not how you commit to a partner and raise a family together. This is not what you do. And I think leaving him is the only way forward.
I have a question for you.
Yes.
The fact that he came home drunk, to me, is almost a separate and equally big issue.
Yes.
With the fact that he came home talking about being with another woman. He abandoned his kids to go drink, which to me screams.
So the drinking is its own issue, and then the woman is like a separate issue. So you've got 2 issues together. There's nothing worse than someone coming home drunk, knowing that they drove themselves to get there. I've been in that situation, and it's fucking. It just enrages you from that standpoint of like driving drunk, endangering other people on the road. When one, like, I don't care who you are, who I hate, whatever. I will go pick up my worst enemy to drive them home if they're drunk, because I think even endangering someone, knowing that you could take an innocent life, that's ASCON 1 right there. And then you throw in the cheating, ASCON 1 again, and I feel like 3 strikes, and we've made it all the way to this one right here.
I would agree. And he got there in one night. And, like, we don't have a lot of context about what marriage was like before this night for them.
I don't have any enemies. But I don't think I do.
You said that. Okay, you said that. And I was like, bullshit. First of all, you've never tried to wake you up.
I don't have enemies.
It's a mission. It is a mission. Hey there, it's Dusty Thunder with yet another story for you. This one is titled, Am I the Astronaut for Shouting at a Teacher After She Took My Cochlear Implants in Class? Before getting into this, a little background information is needed. I, 17 male, was born deaf to a hearing family. My family and I sign at home, but I need to speak while at school, as the high school I go to isn't the most accessible or disability friendly. Okay, go ahead and red flag it right there, and I get it. Communities are different sizes, pool different funding, blah, blah, blah. I understand. But when I was 9, my parents paid for me to get a surgery to receive cochlear implants, which I only really use when at school or out with my hearing friends that don't sign. I attend a mainstream school, and as I stated, it isn't disability friendly. Now, on to the situation at hand. Yesterday, I was wearing a beanie in class. Now, usually that wouldn't be a problem when it is my normal teacher, but yesterday we had a sub. The beanie I was wearing was covering the transmitter of my CI, while the part that hooks onto my ear was noticeable. I know that there are quite a lot of kids that tend to get into trouble because they'd wear AirPods or whatever devices people use nowadays for music that aren't headphones, mainly because they aren't allowed in classes. Usually, my teachers are aware of my CI and know that it, in fact, is not a music device, so I never have any trouble, but this was a sub-teacher. She was not aware of my CIs at first. Keep in mind that at first. Okay. While doing some assignments, this sub, who we'll call Mrs. K, came up to my desk. I don't know what exactly she thought my CIs were, but she did not like them. Originally, she questioned me and told me to remove them immediately or she would have to write me up. I explained to her, made her very aware that what I was wearing was for me to hear, and even took off my beanie to show her. She pretty much called bullshit and attempted to take my CIs off. Oh, like, put hands on you? This was an absolute no-no. I, on instinct, slapped her hands away and stood up before starting to lecture her, telling her she has no right to try and take my CIs. After this little stir, I sat back down, thinking that the situation was most likely over. I was wrong. A little bit afterwards, she came up from behind me and literally snatched them off my head. Someone doesn't have a job anymore. There's no way. If this person is still employed by the school district, then the school district is on the hook. I mean, they are either way. But that's a oof. After this, I got up yet again and started full-on yelling at this lady, telling her that she is not allowed to take assistive devices and threatened to report her. I know in this situation my getting physical was not the right response, but I was scared as hell that she would break them, so I grabbed her hands and tried to get my CIs back, which I did not. Of course, after that, she called the principal in, and me having no clue what the hell was being said, I just straight up told the principal that she took my CIs and isn't giving them back. In the end, I got my CIs back, but obviously due to my putting hands on a staff member, I got suspended, and my principal said I was in the wrong for the situation. My dad is threatening to report this sub-teacher to the administration, so am I the astronaut? Let's talk before we get into the update. Okay. Am I wrong in thinking that she put hands on him? She put hands on him. She was attempting to remove something that was attached to his body. There is no way to do that without hands on. They're magnetic on the back of the head, but she still has to touch him, and this medical assistive device is an extension of him. So either this is somebody who is grossly undertrained for what they're doing, or ignorant, or arrogant, or both, all three. We have some teachers in here. I know we do. Is this something that a sub would ever be within their rights or responsibilities to do? Thinking that it wasn't a CI, thinking that it was a headphone, like, are they allowed to like forcibly take it off of somebody? I don't think so. This sounds like a power trip and pissed off, disgruntled sub to me. This is not normal of subs, right? There's no way. If administration says you're in the wrong for this and what she did is justified, then yeah, need to be talking to an attorney. A whole lot of wrong going on up in there. Let's remember, he's in a school district that is already not disability friendly, not accessible. It's an even bigger problem. Update. Okay, so I've been trying to read all the comments, but there's been a lot, so bear with me, please. I've seen a lot of people asking for my school name and where I live. I'll say right now that that'll be a no for my own safety, and also as a minor, sharing that kind of information scares me and might even put me at risk. I don't know. But also, as I said above, I want to keep myself anonymous, that being for my own safety and my family's safety. A couple comments mentioned how I'm probably bigger and stronger than the sub, so I was most likely perceived as intimidating. This topic actually made me think about that. For a little information on that, I'm 5'9", and I do in fact work out, so I do understand where some people are coming from when they say I might be intimidating to the sub. Though this information probably doesn't mean much, there you go. One thing I do know about this whole thing is that my parents are going to be confronting the administration and reporting the teacher, and from my parents reading your comments, the principal as well. Also, they're going to try to get my suspension removed from my record. I know that my parents are done with my going to a mainstream school because, believe it or not, I've dealt with plenty of similar situations like this with students rather than teachers, and my parents are pretty sick of it, me as well. So they want me to go to a deaf high school where all this hopefully won't be a problem. But the issue with that is that there isn't one in the area I live in, so they're wanting to move. Though with the economy we live in, I don't know how well that will work out. If you have any questions, please let me know. The update was longer than anticipated, even though I thought it isn't necessarily an update, but rather a quick informative thing about some things I've been seeing in the comments. I'll make sure to give an actual update once I find out what my parents plan on doing regarding lawsuits and all that. And that is the end. Okay, so pending. Let's call this story pending. She didn't sound very intimidated, Kaleidoscope says. I would agree. If she was intimidated, she wouldn't have made a second attempt getting in his blind spot, like sneaking up behind him to do. And the administrator, like the principal coming in and not getting a full debrief from both sides, just taking a sub's word for it. Dude. Wow. Angel, you do not put your hands on a kid, period. You don't. Like, how this was even a possible thought for the sub, I don't understand. I mean, I understand a situation where like they're defending themselves by an oncoming attack. That's it. Or pulling one off of another. Like that's it. That's it. Hey there, it's Dusty Thunder with the story for you. This one is actually from Best of Redditor Updates and is titled, My daughter's dance teacher invited her to a sleepover at her house. Will I be the astronaut for formally complaining? Speaking of inappropriate teacher behavior, my daughter is 7. She's been taking ballet classes since she was 4, but has only been enrolled in this particular dance school for about a year. There are only 6 other girls in her class all around her age, and she has 2 lessons a week. Anyway, earlier this week, my daughter came home with an invitation from her teacher. She's inviting all the girls, all 7 of them, to spend the night at her house on the last weekend of April. According to my daughter, the teacher told the girls that it's a slumber party. The pitch apparently included McDonald's, movies, and games. Timeout. While this seems like something it's like I would really love to do something like this for my kids, there has to be this like, that's not appropriate. That's going to be perceived as not appropriate, even if it comes from a very pure place, right? Unless that teacher's daughter is in their class too. You know what I mean? If that teacher has a kid in that class and then it's about the kid, that's different, right? I was thinking like Boy Scouts. We did like camps and sleepover kind of things with Boy Scouts, but that was troop leader is a dad. I don't know. I've spoken to the other moms and they've all confirmed that their daughters got the same invitation. None of us have been notified by the school, so I have to assume the teacher is planning this on her own. She has not spoken to any of us about this directly, only to her daughters. Some of the girls seem to be excited, but my daughter is still anxious about spending the night away from us, so she wouldn't be going even if I was okay with this, which I'm not. I have never spoken to this teacher about anything besides my child, nor do I know anything about her personal life or home. I've been thinking of complaining to the dance school about this because I've never heard of teachers doing this before, and I'm a little freaked out, but at least 2 of the other moms don't seem to have a problem with it, and I can't help but wonder whether I'm overreacting. Is this normal? Honestly, I just need some advice here. No, not normal. Not to me, at least. And I could tell you, putting myself in the position as another parent with a child in that class, I would not just be okay with it. And I'm concerned by someone who is, unless that person has a close personal connection and knows a hell of a lot more about this person's personal life and just knows without a shadow of a doubt that it's a-okay. Concerned about that parent if they are like, yeah, no big deal. I get rid of my kid for a night sitter. Woo! We questioning the hell out of it, Michelle. Yeah. Make permission slips, Jennifer. Okay, so yeah, you got to speak to the parents first before making plans like that. I agree, but also I think the teacher really needs to talk to the school first, and it needs to be something that is like from the school that would, if it was like a school lock-in party kind of thing, maybe, but it has to be a school thing if it's going to be any kind of thing. Putting myself in the position of the employer, of the owner at that school, or as the admin at that school, and one of my staff members was doing this, like, yeah, I need to know about it. Please tell me. Please. Because that person is putting my organization and my life's work at risk as well. All that, I'm not okay with it. I'm going to be like, okay, you're a teacher that wants to do this kind of thing. You better have a pre-event meeting at your house to give everybody a tour of exactly what's going to happen and what's going on here. Here is the update. Thank you all for your input. A lot has happened, but I'll try to keep this short. I won't waste time and try to convince anybody to like me. If you've already decided I'm a true crime-obsessed, neurotic helicopter parent Karen with diaper energy and social anxiety issues, I don't think there's much I can say that'll change your mind. And yes, I've heard of lock-ins. My son had one in his swim team last year. My son had one with his swim team last year. He's a bit older. It happened at the pool. Guardians were informed before the children were, and one of the other parents chaperoned. It's not the same thing as an unofficial sleepover at a teacher's house. All of that said, I never intended to risk this woman's job. I was just worried. So I spoke to my husband and we decided to take your advice and speak to my daughter's teacher first. He spoke to her while picking up our daughter last week. He said the conversation went fine, but he was bothered by her reaction when he said our daughter would not attend. He told the teacher our kid was anxious, but she replied that the sleepover would be a great opportunity for her to come out of her shell and that we should try to encourage our daughter to come. During the conversation, hold on, I'm going to go back and do this for that. While that may even be true, trying to convince a parent of one of your kids to make a decision for them, like trying to interfere with parenting for them? No, not okay. During the conversation, my husband also found out the following. She came up with the sleepover idea because she wanted to bond with the girls and figured it would be fun. She did not ask for another parent to act as a chaperone because her husband had offered to help her. First time she ever mentioned his existence. When asked about what she would do in case of emergency, she just stated she lived about 10 minutes away from the hospital. She did not ask for the parents' contact information because she didn't think of it. After he told me all of this, I decided to email the dance school. I wrote that the teacher was planning a sleepover about which the parents had not received a lot of information. 2 days later, we got an email from the teacher stating she was canceling the sleepover due to a complaint from the dance school. She also apologized for not being more transparent with us. Some of the other moms are planning another sleepover at one of their houses so that the girls won't be upset. Not sure where or when it'll happen yet, but I'm trying to keep up to date. Ultimately, even though I still don't know what the sleepover would have been like, I don't regret this. When it comes to my children, I would rather be paranoid and wrong than regretful and right. If I complained and it turned out to be a completely innocent event, I would feel embarrassed, even after apologizing, but it might be something I could laugh about someday. If I let my daughter go and something happened to her or any of the other girls, I would never forgive myself. Boom. That's it. I will reply to comments for the next day or so, but I won't update again. Thank you all. That last line sums everything up. Or the last 2 lines. If you complained and it turned out to be nothing, you'd feel embarrassed, but that would fade. If you went along with this and something happened, that'll never fade. For a lot of people, your kid included. I understand, like, and maybe this teacher is a sunshine and rainbows kind of person that assumes the best, has the rose-tinted glasses, and is just like, I come from a very pure place. Maybe this is like a character from a kid's show, and she's just like the most pure person in the world. Cool, but you got to understand the rest of the world ain't like that. And as a parent, which she's not, and I think if this teacher was a parent, this wouldn't have happened. She would have had that understanding to be like, yeah, that's not okay. But as not a parent, I could see how it wouldn't be apparent. Hey, there you are.
Okay. Yeah, I don't care if this person is Miss Rachel herself. I don't think that this is appropriate. I was trying to give her the benefit of the doubt, but then with the update, where she hadn't really thought anything through, like I don't know. If I don't know the parents, I don't want my child staying there. Like that's just how I think we feel as parents. If I can't text the parent and like know them on a certain level, like I can't trust you with my child in your home. So I feel like this was they're in a professional setting, they're in a class, that they've paid to have their child in, and I do think that this is like crossing a line in a professional setting that you shouldn't invite. This isn't something there's going to be overnight camping trips, like Girl Scouts or brownies or Boy Scouts, like those things are coming. You're aware of those things. You get to know the parent who's the leader in charge of this group. I think you're aware of those things, but just making an invitation to a sleepover from a dance class, having 2 girls that have been in classes, I think that's kind of weird. It's strange to me, and I don't have anything against this teacher wanting to get to know her students better, but I think inviting them to do something where the parents come along would be a better way to get to know those girls. I think this just feels weird to me, and I put all the icky stuff aside. It still feels weird to me, like it crosses the professional boundary whenever you enroll your child in a class, not expecting this to be that. And if you wanted to do this, ask one of the parents to host, and then you get to come too and like be involved in it that way. But I don't know.
This truly comes off as young and inexperienced, though, right?
Yeah.
I mean, not having the wisdom of being a parent or the lack of brain cells that being a parent happens.
And maybe it's because I babysat so much as a teen that I understand like the rules and boundaries. Because I'm like, even if I worked with kids at a young age before I was a parent, I still wouldn't invite them to my house because that just takes on a whole set of like, it's just so much more. It opens up a whole new world when you invite them into your home. And so that's just not something I would feel comfortable doing, especially if this is my job.
Okay, so this is just out of pure
curiosity.
Call me Curious George. This is pure curiosity, but do you see this being a different scenario if this is a 14-year-old kid and it is a school cheer coach or dance coach or some kind of coach of that effect? Does that make it different?
I mean, our girls go to cheer camp,
right?
Which
is a structured event.
Yeah, like they stay the night. They stay in a hotel with other girls their age in the room. Like, I think that would just very much depend on the situation and how comfortable you were with the coaches. But I think that would still be a no-no because It's not
From the schools,
Yes.
I could see how that would
Yes,
be like,
exactly.
hell no, do not do it, not
Yeah,
allowed.
it's a professional boundary that you're crossing. And I don't think in this situation, when you have a class and someone's paying to go there, or you're in a school and your child is enrolled there, you don't cross that professional boundary. It's like I said, that's not the expectation that comes with Boy Scouts or Girl Scouts or something of that nature whenever you're going on a camping trip. You have those expectations at the beginning. You know that's coming. This is not that scenario, and I think it crosses the boundary.
Yeah.
That should not be crossed. And I tried to give the teacher the benefit of the doubt, but her responses are like so just
Entitled.
flippant. Like they're just yeah.
To me,
I don't know.
this
I wouldn't
gives
be very.
Okay.
I wasn't reassured by her responses.
young and inexperienced, but also like former cheer captain, maybe in college,
Yeah.
and like her way of bonding with teammates, or
I
like
get
that,
it.
It was a natural thing to her that she didn't see any problem with. So it just gave me somebody
these
who came from that, and this is the first experience she's having.
Yeah, this is
She's fresh out of the oven. This one.
These are 7-year-old girls though.
Yeah.
They're very. This is a very. This is not something I would be comfortable with.
Nope.
I would, especially not being okayed with the school. Like it's just all it was. It's weird. It's weird. It's weird.
I would actually be like, hey, this is only going to be okay if I'm the one who's allowed to chaperone, and I will be so I could monitor like everything myself and be there with like a baseball bat or something. You know what I mean? Be like,
Get there.
I'll be like, I will be private security for the entirety. Put it that way. Private security who does not pee or take shits or needs to like do anything at all. I will be right there the whole time, which makes you wonder. I would be. How does like people have security details? You think about like uber famous people like T Swift. She's got security. What if security needs to take a poop? What then? The other security? Well, yeah. Okay. But still. Hey there, it is Dusty Thunder with another story for you. Title of this one is Am I the Astronaut for Leaving My Boyfriend's Birthday Dinner After His Mom Took My Seat as a Joke? I, 25 female, have been dating my boyfriend Matt, 27 male, for almost 2 years. His family is very close, and his mom in particular has always been a little possessive. I've tried not to make a big deal out of it, but it is clear that she doesn't like that I take up his time. And she's made passive-aggressive comments like, I hope I don't lose my son to some girl. Even though we've been together for a while and I've made every effort to be kind and respectful to her. Anyway, last weekend was Matt's birthday. He invited me to dinner with his family at a nice restaurant. I dressed up, got him a gift I knew he would love, and was honestly looking forward to the night. When we arrived, I noticed his mom had saved the seat right next to him for herself. That's fine, whatever. I sat on his other side. But right before we ordered, his mom made a joke about how I always need to be next to Matt and said, let's see how you handle a little separation. And then she literally stood up, looked down at me and said, scooch, sweetie, motioning for me to move down a seat so she could sit between us. Everyone at the table laughed, Matt included. Maybe here a minute pushing buttons, folks. We just got to that level. Consider it intermission, a commercial break, if you will. Okay. I was so stunned, I just quietly got up and moved. For about 5 minutes, I just sat there, feeling small and humiliated, while she leaned over Matt like he was her date. So I stood up, grabbed my bag, and said, actually, I think I'm going to head out. Hope you have a great birthday, Matt. And I left. Matt blew up my phone later saying I completely overreacted and embarrassed him in front of his family and said I can't take a joke. His mom texted me a sorry you were so sensitive message, which just made it worse. Now he's not speaking to me until I apologize. I honestly feel like they were the rude ones, but it was his birthday dinner, so now I'm second guessing everything. Am I the astronaut?
Is the joke?
So what's worse? That's my question here. Is it worse that this shit happened in the first place, or that OP has actually found herself in a situation where she's like, am I actually wrong? Did I overreact? Wasn't the Targaryen? That's perfect. That's perfect. OP, black of hair. Here's the problem. Brozo don't know any better because Bizzo raised him. Bizzo trained him. Bizzo has been preparing him for this his entire life, and now her territory has been threatened, so she's just upping the attention. And he's been trained to like that attention. Nope. I don't like it, brother. He likes it. He's gonna allow every single person that gets to a certain point in a relationship with him to be run off by mommy. He's not gonna get married. And someday when she's gone, he's gonna be helpless and lost. To quote Tony Spark. I said, no, not the asking for leaving that madness. No. Nay, nay, I say. Nay, nay. Hey there, it's Dusty Thunder once again with another story for you. This one is Am I the Astronaut for telling mom she can bill me using the tuition money she stole from me? When I, male 33, was preparing to go to uni, my mom confessed that there was no tuition money for me. Through the years, my dad would give her cash to deposit, but she only did the first one. She spent the rest. To be honest, I wasn't even surprised. I was used to being disappointed by her. She promised that she would pay me back and asked that I never tell my dad. Dad's still around? So for 4 years, I thanked them for the tuition money while I took out loans. Okay, this is way worse than I assumed it would be. For reasons to do with her narcissism, I have an arm's length relationship with her, but she would say we're pretty close as she assumes my smiling and nodding while she drones on about the same stories is a relationship. We have a family cottage that she puts above everything else. She lives there about 90 days out of the year. I've been going there with my girlfriend for about 4 days for a couple summers, which she begrudges as it takes away from her time. My dad supports my going, which is how I pull it off. She recently told me that it was time for me to start paying for some of the maintenance on the cottage since I use it. She actually suggested $1,000, which is wildly disproportionate. I told her she could take it out of the tuition IOU, and we could negotiate the amount with Dad. She was speechless. She texted me later to say that it was manipulative to bring up the tuition and threatened to tell Dad. It went on and on. I've been thinking about it, and first, I'm hurt/offended that she can't do just a nice thing for me. She has to get something for it. Second, I guess I'm not really over the whole tuition thing. Will I be the astronaut for bringing up ancient history? Was I the astronaut for bringing up ancient history and not paying her for use of the cottage? Edited to add, at the time it never occurred to me that I should have told him. I thought I was doing the right thing by protecting both of them. That pretty much summarizes my childhood. Okay, so your childhood was mom manipulates you and does it in a way where dad is kept in the dark. So finally putting a light on it? No, hell no, you're not the astronaut for that. No. And you should tell him. Like, it is a trust break between them that he's unaware of. This is just the tip of the iceberg, right? Dad has no idea this has been going on, has this sense of pride, like I worked hard and I was responsible and I was able to do this for my child, and I'm proud of that. That would be a huge accomplishment, right? It would be a huge thing. Instead, it went to, we don't even know what, was mom's casino money or something. We don't even know what it went to. They were both robbed. Dad and OP were both robbed, and Dad needs to know. OP, you know, not that it makes it better, do him the same courtesy. Loxley, yeah, he's definitely still paying those loans off. You're supposed to let go of your selfishness. Well, it exposes how selfish you really are, and then that's supposed to be the beginning of self-awareness and blah, 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 right? Wow. I don't know why, but in White Lotus in the newest season, I don't know why. Parker Posey. I don't know why. I don't know why, but I see mom as the character she plays in White Lotus, right? She's like, oh, honey, don't tell Dad. You laugh at me, but they work. Hello there, it's Dusty Thunder with another story for you. This one is titled, Am I the Astronaut for Backing Out of Giving a Speech at My Stepdad's Funeral After Reading a Letter He Left Me? I'm 24 female. My stepdad passed away last month after a long illness. He came into my life when I was 6. My real dad wasn't around, and my stepdad basically raised me, taught me how to ride a bike, helped with homework, showed me how to do every school thing. We don't always see eye to eye, but he was my dad, you know? When he got sick, I helped out a lot. Visited every week, helped mom with care stuff when I could, even used some holiday time from work to be there more toward the end. Before he died, he asked me if I'd say something at his funeral. Nothing formal, just a speech. I said yes straight away. The night before the funeral, me and my mom were going through some old boxes to set up a little memory table. In one of them, she found a sealed letter with my name on it. She said he wrote it a few weeks before he passed and asked her to give it to me. She'd forgotten about it until that night. I took it upstairs and read it alone. It started off sweet, stuff like thank you for being part of my life, proud of you, that kind of thing, but toward the end it shifted. He said that when he first married my mom, he didn't want me around, that he'd try to convince her to have me live with my grandparents because he wasn't ready to raise someone else's kid, that he didn't know how to handle it, and he honestly just resented how fast everything changed. He said eventually he came to love me and that our bond became one of the most important things in his life, that writing it down was his way of being honest and showing how far we had come. I stared at it for like an hour. I tried to just brush it off, like, okay, yeah, it was a long time ago and people change, but I couldn't stop thinking about it. All those years I had believed he chose me, that he wanted to be my dad, and suddenly it felt like that wasn't true. Not at the start anyway. It made me feel like the speech I was supposed to give would be a lie. I didn't sleep that night. In the morning I told my mom I couldn't do it. I didn't say why, just that I wasn't in the right place emotionally. She said okay, but I could tell she was disappointed. My uncle ended up speaking instead. Now some family members are saying that I was cold, that I let him down on the day it mattered most. My mom hasn't pushed, but I think she knows something's up. I still don't really know how to feel. Part of me feels like I let him down, but another part of me feels like he let me down first. It didn't feel right to stand up there and talk about how much he meant to me when all I could think about was how at the start, he didn't even want me in his life. So yeah. Am I the astronaut for backing out of the speech after reading that? What a cowardly way to confess something. No, you're not the astronaut for this. In the end, he chose to be a huge asshole and called it repentance. Like, you know what? I'm gonna write this in a letter so I don't have to face the consequences. But I feel better about having written it down, knowing that she's gonna read it eventually, so I've absolved of those sins. And could die like feeling that that's not on my chest. Also, whether I'm labeling it or outright acknowledging it, I am subliminally at least acknowledging it and accepting that I am leaving that pain with her instead. I am removing that pain from myself and giving it to you. Would you say something at my funeral? This guy. Okay, he did a good job acting, pretending to be a father figure to you. That's what you discovered. The fact that in the end he chose to hand his pain to you and make it yours says everything you need to know. Whether he realized that's what he was doing or not doesn't matter. The fact that he didn't realize or didn't acknowledge or didn't choose not to give you that pain is what matters. FTG. No, OP, you would not be the astronaut. You aren't the astronaut for backing out of the speech after reading that. Here's the difference between him and you, OP. He wanted to back out on you from the get-go, and if he had had his druthers, he would have. The only thing that prevented that from happening was your mom. If it was just up to him, you wouldn't have been there. It feels like a cowardly cleanse. Like that was him removing that pain from his soul, but somehow thinking that was the right thing to do. Everybody thinks they're doing the right thing, right? Somehow he saw that this was the right thing to do. That's the problem. If the right thing to do to you is to hand your pain to someone else and let them live with it forever, you're the asshole. FTG. Ladies and gents, it's Dusty Thunder with a cake story for you. Title of this one is Am I the Astronaut for Refusing to Make My Sister-in-Law's Wedding Cake for Free? I, 29 female, run a bakery business that I've built from the ground up during the past 5 years. It started as a hobby during college, but now it's a registered business with steady clients, a dedicated workspace, and consistent orders during each month. I do mostly weddings, birthdays, and other events. I take a lot of pride in what I do, and it's not just baking for fun anymore. This is my livelihood. My sister-in-law, 33 female, is getting married at the beginning of June. She's my wife's older sister. We're on friendly terms, but she's always had this vibe like she doesn't really take what I do seriously. She has made comments like, must be nice getting to play in the kitchen all day. Or, you're lucky, people will pay for something that they could probably learn on YouTube. Always with a smile, like it's a joke, but not really. Oh no, that's petty bitch shit right there. That's 100% petty bitch shit right there. I've brushed these comments off in the past. Also, time out, bitch. You can learn anything on YouTube. Anything. I've brushed these comments off in the past since they weren't happening all the time, and I just didn't want to stir up any drama. So earlier this month, she asked if I would make her wedding cake. I said sure, and asked what she had in mind. She sent over inspo pics of a 4-tier cake with a smooth buttercream floral piping and real flowers on top and cascading down one side. She wanted it to be chocolate sponge with raspberry filling in terms of taste. Plus, she wanted me to deliver it to the venue myself on the morning of the wedding rather than picking it up the day before herself. After we got done discussing everything, I gave her a quote over the phone with a generous family discount, and sister replied almost instantly that she didn't think I would be charging her and the cake would essentially be a wedding gift. I don't think you get to decide what each person is giving you as a wedding gift. If it did, that would be fun, but that's not how this reality works. I told her that I don't typically do wedding cakes as gifts because of how much time and work they take, but I would be happy to buy her something from her registry instead, or still make the cake at a discounted price if she wanted. She wasn't happy. She said I was being transactional and that it was just a cake and I clearly didn't want to be a part of her special day before hanging up on me. Okay, listen, bitch, if it's just a cake, go get one from the grocery store. To be clear, I have made cakes for free before, but those were small, simple ones for people I care about or for friends who were going through a rough time. This isn't that my sister-in-law and her fiance can't pay for the cake, and it's not like she's exactly respected my work in the past. Meanwhile, sister-in-law has been telling anyone who will listen that I'm making her big day about myself and trying to profit off of her happiness. My mother-in-law called and she didn't really ask how I felt or try to understand where I was coming from. She just seemed overwhelmed and kind of desperate to stop this from turning into a bigger family fight. She kept going on about how stressed my sister-in-law was and how she was being a bit much, but basically begged me to reconsider. My wife is completely on my side and has told her mom to stop trying to smooth things over at my expense, but even she admitted she sort of wishes I would just say yes to avoid the fallout.
No!
Your wife said that? Oh, man, she's not really on your side then. Listen, you said she's completely on your side, but she admitted she sort of wishes you would just cave. Not something that someone who's completely on your side says. I say here's the problem a lot. I need to get a t-shirt that says here's the problem. That's my new shirt. When you have as a crafts person of any kind, baker, musician, website developer, graphic designer, photographer, no matter what it is, if you invest your time to create the product that is your livelihood or even your side hustle, when you give it away for free, you devalue it. Not just to the person that you're giving it away to yourself. You devalue it. I learned that the hard way. Early, well, I say early, but you know, as a business person, as a community person, as when you have a skill set, like you want to help people by doing that thing for them. And though like we're not a big organization with big funds for sponsorships and stuff, like we're a small team. So we do for people, we do for not profits, that's how we help and how we contribute. But for a long, long time, we did way too much. And it devalued what we did to a harmful point. And OP values their time, values their craft, values their business, and they have every right to. This bizzo does not, has made shitty little jabs in the past about how it's so cool that people will pay for something they can probably figure out how to do on YouTube, and then has the balls to call you up and give you an inspo board with this freaking cake you'd see on E or HGTV or some shit, wherever they do, I don't know, on an Insta reel, right? I'm like, what's the relevant thing? I'm sounding old here. Crank it up a notch. Has the balls to be like, I'm envisioning that when you cut the cake, butterflies fly out of it, but they're edible butterflies. And that's when you take a bite of this cake, we actually lace it with something that has to, like, you have like a euphoric experience on every bite. and I'm expecting this for free. So let me preface this request by, I don't value anything that you do. And oh, by the way, I'm going to ask you to do something really difficult I would never attempt to do on my own for free. How OP had this strength, or maybe just the slow enough processor from being fried from being a business owner, to not in that moment be like, well, I'm sure you can find a YouTube video to make just that. I don't know how they didn't fire that back. Hey there, it's Dusty Thunder, and I got one of these for you. Spicy story. Hear that sizzle? Title of this one is, Am I the Astronaut for Walking Out of the Hospital After Hearing My Wife's Diagnosis? Oh, shit. I, 33, get a call from the ER on Friday saying that my wife, 32, drove herself there because of searing pelvic pain. I'm on a business trip until Saturday, but I drive back in time to be there Saturday morning before she woke up. A while after she wakes up, the doctor comes in. My wife says to stay with her, so I say okay. He takes a deep breath and said that from the transvaginal ultrasound and CT scan results, she has ovarian cancer. My wife starts sobbing, but at first I stay still because I don't even know what to make of it. My wife asks what that means for her, and he says she'll likely need at least a full hysterectomy, and they'd have to remove the fallopian tubes as well as the ovaries. The news jolted me from my chair because the doctor was effectively telling me that she wouldn't be able to have kids after this, and after years of work, I thought we had finally have a family. I'm overwhelmed with emotions of anger, not just anger at the disease, but pent-up anger from the fact that I had begged her to have kids since we were 26, but she refused for her career. And now instead of becoming a real family, I didn't even know if she would remain the woman I married, whether the last picture of us together would be the last time I would remember her looking beautiful, young, and carefree, because the wife I had in front of me was already a different person. FTG. FTG. Start the chant. Holy shit. My wife started to grab my hand and say, we'll fight this and we'll adopt. But I shook my head and turned around and walked out the door. I still had my suitcase in the car, so I drove to a hotel because I didn't know if my wife was going to end up being discharged or what. At the hotel, I was at least able to get out of reactive mode, but I was still so disappointed that our dream of a family was over. Were you disappointed?
You are a family, you asshole.
Were you disappointed? Were you? I finally was able to get a grasp on all of my emotions and feel more like my normal self, in that I knew exactly what I felt about every aspect and how I would react to it from here on out. I get a call from mother-in-law saying if that I was a hotel or whatever else, I should just stay there. Am I the astronaut for walking out? I admit it was done on impulse, but this diagnosis just sliced my life and my wife's life wide open. I wasn't going to expel the cancer if I stayed that night, but I did at least make myself aware of my situation, and I feel I have a right to be angry that my hope of biological kids, the only kind I ever wanted, is rapidly fading away. How in the fuck is this OP able to get through all of this bullshit and at the very end still be like, I have a right, me. Your wife just found out she has ovarian cancer. You dingly piece of shit. Either you are just incredibly dense, or the most selfish asshole of all time, or both, or all of it. You abandoned her at the worst moment in her life. You abandoned her because you were disappointed. Did you find out that you had cancer too? Oh, no? Well, I'm sorry, I'm confused. What the is wrong with you? Yes, that sucks. For both of you. Okay. You're pissed about something that sucks for both of you. What about the other thing that sucks real bad for her? Come on up, Tater. I'm stuck. My brain is broken once again. How could somebody get through all of this being this selfish and still be like, yeah, that's how I feel? Oh, wait. Tater thoughts.
One, your wife is going through probably one of the hardest things she's ever going to go through. And you're like, but my incubator, but her uterus, I need that. Instead of thinking the fact that your wife is losing all of these things that produce the hormones, she's 33. Like, she's going to have her whole life has been changed at this moment. And you look at your wife in that moment and you're like, yeah, I can't do this. I can't be here for you. I can't help you with your pain. I can't walk this walk with you because I won't have biological kids. You don't deserve biological kids, dude. You just don't. you're an asshole of the highest degree, and your wife, who just found out that she had cancer, who's going to lose part of her body because she has cancer, and you're like, but my feelings, but this, but that. No words of comfort, no anything. And you said you looked at your wife and she no longer looked like the woman, the carefree, beautiful. No, really? She's got cancer, dude. She just found that out. She's in a whole world of pain. And you're like, but my pain is bigger than your pain. And I have to go somewhere by myself to understand my pain. Let's just talk. Just a few words. I just want to let you know how I feel. Because this guy, I can't imagine being in such a vulnerable moment of your life where you find out that you're losing everything, not just your uterus, not just one ovary, but all of it. And then your husband is like, I can't deal with this. I can't deal with this. I can't deal with the fact that you're not giving me biological kids.
Okay, so a lot of feedback in chat about how this is super common. And I know that, like, I've heard the stories about people being with people with terminal illness and how that's really hard, and eventually they end up breaking. He did this the instant they got the news. Is that common? Like, as soon as people find out, they bail?
I feel like this guy bailed as soon as his wife put having a career before his biological kids. He has been holding this against her for 7 years, and then all of it just broke in this one moment. Instead of expressing how he actually felt, instead of saying, I don't want to wait, this isn't the marriage for me, I should move on and have a life, because I think a family is only, 2 people with kids? Like, that's the only thing that makes a family? No, it's not. And so when he's doing all this, for 7 years, he's just resenting her for not wanting to have kids. And then the moment he realizes that she can't is the moment he's like, yeah, I'm done. And that just tiny little piece makes him the biggest asshole of the day. Congratulations, sir. Way to go. You ruined our NTA streak. But that aside.
You piece of shit!
If we didn't have kids, this man would still be my family. Together, we would be a family. Just because you don't have biological kids doesn't mean that you don't have a family. Your family is sitting right there and like in front of you, going through the hardest thing in your life, and you're like, I don't have family. I can't deal with this shit.
I didn't marry your uterus.
Elise said they'll get divorced and he will marry someone 10 years younger than him.
Oof.
Yeah, he's looking for someone to provide. He's looking for a incubator.
So, and that's old school mentality, right?
Like,
I mean, that's Game of Thrones kind of shit, where it's like, if you could no longer provide a child, like you couldn't.
You had no.
Sorry,
you're
purpose. Fired.
Yes.
You're fired.
Just so you know, dude, women are people too. We're more than just the uterus that comes along with our body. And for you to put that on your wife, and I understand having big feelings around the fact that something is being taken away from you. I understand that this guy is also going through something, but to walk away and write this post and be like, I can't have something that I've always wanted. Way to make something that's not about you completely about you.
Do you think this is like, so dudes who are no more than their pain assumes that women are no more than their uterus?
I guess. I don't know. If you think the only thing that women are good for is to provide you with biological children, see you next Tuesday.
Yeah, you shouldn't have children because that cycle needs to break.
You're cunty, and I don't like it.
Hey, Dusty Thunder here, and I wanted to thank you so much. I hope you enjoyed that content, and if you did, please make sure to like, subscribe, and most importantly, share. Also, you can find swag and so much more at dusty-thunder.com, and you'll find even more content on all of our platforms. We're on TikTok, YouTube. We now have an official Facebook page that we'll be posting stories to as well. We have podcasts on Spotify and Apple Podcasts, and so much more. You can see all of our content platforms on Linktree, which is linked in my bio. Engage with us wherever you're enjoying content, and do your best to avoid the Askonauts today. Thanks again.